Hey guys, welcome to High School Technology. Today we're going to be talking about what exactly is a computer language and how do you use the terminal. Let's get started. Okay, so this is where we are going to be hanging out most of the year, is on a desktop. It's basically a mirror image of what you guys have. Same settings and everything, so the first question that I'm going to answer today is, what exactly is a programming language? So when you think about a computer, oftentimes we think about this screen that we see, and it's really nice and easy to work with. But at the beginning, of course, they didn't have that. They didn't have what was called a desktop. They had just lines of code, and they had to, and that got us closer to ultimately what a language does. So a language is like a bridge between the hardware, the silicone and the copper and the electricity, and then something that is actually useful to us, and utilizing those resources. So a computer comes with many different things. It comes with a hard drive, memory, CPU, GPU, and all kinds of different hardware that generate something really pretty and nice to look at. And so if we want that screen to show some sort of something, then we have to talk to the hardware. And this is where languages come in. Hardware talks in binary, which is ones and zeros. And although we could certainly do that, it's not very easy for us to understand. It doesn't just come naturally to us mentally in communicating that way. So that's the computer's language. And so what has been developed over time is tools that allow you to access and manipulate that binary. And so so the first languages were what were considered low-level languages, very, very difficult to work with. They were fairly close to binary in their representation. And then further and further, as we got away from, as more tools were created, tools being languages, they became higher level languages, which allow you to, which make it more legible, more like a human, more like English, if you will. And so that allowed more people to get into and access resources of the hardware in order to accomplish whatever they wanted to accomplish. So hopefully that gives you some idea of what a language is. I know it's not the perfect representation. Now we're going to talk about what a terminal is. So here we have behind me, it's just the desktop, right? This is the first thing you see. It's easy to understand. You move your mouse around and you click. The computers, and so when you click on something, there's a line of code that is run, and that code does all kinds of other things and creates a user interface on our desktop. But it wasn't always that way. And so I want to take you back to an earlier stage in computing, to a stage which allows us more, it gives us more capability when working with the computer. It's a tool that you're going to be using for the rest of our class, on and off. So pay attention as I go through these next few steps. So we want to access or interact with the core of the computer. And the core is what is like the heart of the computer, right? I mean, it does everything. And in order to access that, we need to pull up some sort of interface which allows us to talk to that core. And that is called a terminal. And the way I should clarify, I pressed the Windows key. You can also hit the box of chocolates. So the Windows key on your computer will bring up this menu, which is devoid of all the apps. And you can type terminal, and that'll show you the terminal. It gives you that option to open the application. A shortcut that I want you to remember, because it speeds things up tremendously, is Control-Alt-T. So Control-Alt-T, that's the lower left in your keyboard, then maybe 2 or 3 over from the lower left is Alt, and then T, you know that one. Control-Alt-T automatically brings up a terminal. And so this is exactly what I've described. It's a way to communicate with the core of the computer. Now, do you have admin privs? No. You do not. You are not in the sudoers file, which is to be sudo means to be admin for whatever reason. Don't know where that word comes from, but on a Linux machine, sudo is admin. And let me see if I can. Okay, so that's better. It's zoomed in. So this is the terminal. This is where we're going to talk to the core. So let's start with a couple commands. The first one that you should always know is help. Help is a little bit like drinking out of a fire hydrant, right? I mean, it's a lot of information here. And the way I did it is just typed help and then enter. And it gives you all of the options that you can mess around with. This is going to be part of your assignment. I want you to try out a few of these things. Some of these things you won't be able to do. Some of these things you will be able to do, but you'll need to use the right syntax, and I'll talk about that. So anyways, this is help. Gives you all of the commands that are accessible to you, and I think that if you scroll up, if you go over here to the right-hand side, you can go up. There we go. It's a small bar. And it'll give you some more information here at the top about help and whatnot. So and now let's just take a command called ls. So let me find it. Okay, so for some reason ls isn't there, and so but I know it's a command. So I guess I'll start with cd. So if we go up here in the help section, we can see CD, and it gives a bunch of characters and things like that after it. Now, of course, you'll want to pay attention to where these open and close, but these brackets are not needed when using this command. They are placeholders. It's like they're giving you a box, and they're saying in this box you can put, for instance, dir. That stands for directory. And this is important because what cd does is it changes directory. Change directory, cd. And I think if we type help cd, then it will give us more information. That's something I guess I should explain about the help command, is that it doesn't just give you a general overview, but you can go and really drill down into each command and get much more information about it. So here we have the explanation for cd, and it's a little bit much for now, so I'm going to go back to the regular general overview, and it says cd. Then it gives you some options. Inside of here, any of these letters prefixed with a hyphen, they are required, and it helps the computer know what you're wanting to access. Now, but if we come down here to dir, there's no hyphen before dir, which means that all you have to do is type the directory that you want to go to. Now, I will go ahead and explain ls before we move any further. So what I want you to do is type ls, and what you'll see is a large, it's a list of various things. What are these things? Well, if we look closely, you can tell that they must be folders, because we have the desktop, we have documents, and so on. Now, let's say that we want to, before I go on, here we can see which directory we are in just before the $sign. And we see this squiggly. I can't remember what that one was called. We see a squiggly line. That means user directory. That is your home directory of you being the user. Now, if we move directories, you will see that it changes. So let's go ahead and type cd and backslash, let's see, will this work? Backslash, documents. Enter. No, I see what I did wrong. I was not capitalizing. In Linux, you have to, a case is important. So it's case sensitive. So you cannot just write documents. You have to write capital D documents. And now you'll see here that we are in the squiggly /documents folder. What is in this folder? Well, let's list, and there's actually nothing in that folder. And so now we're stuck. We're stuck up in documents. Well, to go backwards, you do cd :, and it takes you back 1. And if we type ls, we can then see that, yes, indeed, we are back to where we were. And we can write cd desktop, and it'll take us to desktop, and then we can list the file content, folder contents, and there is nothing in there for whatever reason. So, there's probably not much in any of these folders at the moment. Okay, so let's head back to, let's go back to our home directory. And something you should be aware of, and this will have ramifications later on. There are hidden files, and this is no big secret, but they're hidden because typically they're not needed to be accessed. So Linux just hides them. If you want to see all of the files in a directory, you simply type ls-a, and you'll see that there are several more options. And so let's, for the final thing we're going to do on the terminal, at least in the lesson here, we are going to cd into if I could just hit that, mindtest, the .mindtest folder, as you'll see in your list. Now we can simply type ls, though there may be some hidden files in here too. But if you simply type ls, we can see that there are some folders in the mindtest folder. I'm going to cd into mods and list it, and we see that there's a mod in there, the more blocks mod. This is that is how you can at least navigate in a terminal. That's how you access the core. And later on, I will be showing you how to run code in the core itself. But that's enough for today. What I want you to do is type help, and find 5 different commands. Find 5 different commands that you want to try. I need them actually, don't just try it and if it fails, just move on. No. Find 5 that actually work and show you something. Of course, you're going to have questions. Please ask me questions. I'm fine with that. Find 5 that work. Take a screen capture of your computer screen and submit that as your assignment. Now, how do you take a screen capture? It's very simple. You'd simply press the print screen icon, print screen key on your keyboard. So I'm going to do that right now, and you'll see, wow, very pretty. It took a picture. Where did that picture go? Well, if you type the Windows key, type picture, and in your files, there's a folder called pictures, and here I have 2 different ones. My screen is in extended mode. So yours is going to look different. But basically you'll take that screen shot, make note of which one it is, because there's going to be a lot as we move along. So you might want to rename it. That's done with the right click and then rename right there. And then go to Google Classroom, drop it in as an attached file, submit it, and you're good to go. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll catch you on the next lesson.